Okay, Nabil, to start with, well done, a good body of work. You've got a lot of slides. Your main challenge now is to make sure that you justify the reasons and the decisions that you've made. So we'll start from the top. This is fine. You've got a stimulus page here. You've got your recording. Please put your aperture and your shutter speed values on the pictures. You've got your first investigation, which you've looked at in depth, which is fine. Again, recording here. These are fine, but again, you need to just put some shutter speed and aperture values on these pictures. You've looked at landscapes. There needs to be some kind of paragraph here about how you've started off initially looking at internal close structures of an environment, and then you've stood back and used a wider lens to get these larger landscapes. So these are kind of establishing shots. The other ones were more detailed shots. Obviously these were in black and white, and now you've gone to colour. You're looking at flowers and the work of CH. Who is CH? Well, it's Celia Henderson, so you should actually be using her name, and if it's too long you need to make this text smaller so it fits. Please don't abbreviate. Again, what lens did you use? You've used a shallow depth of field. What aperture? We don't know. Alright, so you need to put that in. And then here, you've done some selective colour in Photoshop. Why? What's the reason? Is it because you're trying to combine black and white photography with colour? Is it because you want the red to stand out and contrast against the background? Whatever the reason is, there's no justification, so it needs to be in there. Again, you've taken some more flower pictures. This, beware of the dog picture here. It just looks really out of place, and I think you need to just get rid of it altogether because it just doesn't work. Now you're looking at responding to the work of Carl Bosfeld, but there isn't actually an investigation here between this slide and this slide of the work of Carl Bosfeld. So you're responding to his work, but you've not actually investigated him. So you need to do that. This is a really good sheet. You've got the setup shot, which is pretty obvious. You could do with a lighting diagram here, and you can create that using the lighting diagram creator, lightingdiagrams.com. You just come down here, launch the diagram creator, and then you just simply move things around. So you didn't have a softbox, it wasn't even that, it was just basically a light, and it's coming off to the left, and it's like here, and your subject is obviously not a person, it is a flower in this case. I can put that there, and then your camera is here. So this is your lighting setup. So you do that, you would then do a print screen, or in this case, as we're using a Mac, you would do a screen grab, and then you would put that lighting diagram in here. You should also be using your shutter speed and your aperture values and the decision you made of what lens you were going to use. You've put the outcomes here, which again, they all look really good. You've shot black on white, white on black, so you're going monochrome, and you're deciding on the background. So these are fine. We've got some more images that you've taken here. Again, these are good, but again, please get some settings in. Investigating the work of Peter Lippmann. Peter is a name, it should have start with a capital, so should the surname. This is basic things that you're just making errors on. And then there's no analysis, there's absolutely no, there's not even a single word on this page that tells me anything about this work. You know, what's going on? Well, we've got nature being contained within something man-made. We've got translucency, we've got light being shot from behind, backlighting, we've got silhouettes, we've got shape, we've got form, positive, negative space. There's nothing there. It's just pictures. Okay, so you should be analysing this work and putting a paragraph of writing in there. Then we've got your set of pictures, which are fine. These seem a little bit low contrast. I'm not sure why these examples here are pure black. You just need to check that. It looks a bit faded. Also, don't stick an image right next to another image. give it a little bit of space. So this one obviously needs cropping. And this is all the stuff you could have done in your exam, but you fell asleep within the first 10 minutes, so that didn't really help. So you need to kind of think a little bit more and not pretend like you've done everything when you really haven't. Right, so you'd crop that. You'd talk about backlighting with a large softbox. Label things. Here's one outcome, here's another. Okay, this is fine. These are your outcomes. Now you've brought the skull in. Why? What is a skull representing? Why has a skull got a rose in its mouth? You know, there's no justification here for any of this stuff. I know you did it because I kind of gave you some ideas, but now we have to kind of reverse engineer the project and bring in this idea of why we've got a skull. Well, you could say these flowers were dying and they were decaying, and now you've represented death and decay as a skull, but rather than having a decaying flower, you've got a fully live flower here, but the skull is obviously death. So you could bring that idea in, but you need to put that in. So it could be you label this picture decaying flowers, live rose, and it could be decaying a death skull, and then life in the form of this rose. So again, the pictures are good, quality is nice, but no justification. All right, so now we've got words and messages, we've got pages. What is this representing? Tell me. You need to tell me. Okay, so in this negative space here, you can put a paragraph of the significance of the writing and what it's representing, or you find a picture of an artist, some work which has words with animals or flowers or people. That could be your link. Is this a poem? Is this a letter? Is this something left for somebody? We don't know. If I don't know, the examiner doesn't know. Let's come down here. This is fine again, and now we're going into X-rays. This was something that I showed you how to do, but we don't have a reason for why we've done it other than it looks good. So again, we have to put in a new slide, and we have to find maybe X-ray photography, or maybe you want to look at inverted flowers, or maybe you want to look at scanned images. Now, when I looked at this did work really well, as did this, as did these, but the examiner doesn't know where these images have come from, because he might not have made the link that these photographs you've used are actually from previous photographs. So what you would do, you'd have to show a page, and I'd have a new slide in here, which actually takes this image, the original image, and it's on this page, and you show in Photoshop or in Lightroom or whatever you use to do this, how it was done. So the stages of how you create this. Okay, so you'd start off with your original image, and then you start off with the original image plus a flip version next to it. Then you'd have the original image plus the flip version, and it's flipped again here, so you'd only have this center section here before you get to this final one. So you're showing the stages of how you built it up. Then we've got the inversion, which again works really well, and then these are all really nice developments. And I know you've picked this as a as a possible outcome. It's not your strongest, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue with this idea of scanning, and we spoke about this. You take some more pictures of flowers, and if you want to get really in there and get some more marks, I would actually bring some flowers in and use the scanner and put them in and scan them, and you will get this kind of strange detailed effect. Again, that's more experimenting, and you'll just get more marks. Overall, it's a good project. It's interesting. It's quite original. It's interesting from how you started to where you've come, but I think we need another influence, an artist, something that links in with the words. We definitely need something linked to the black and white inverted photographs, so you could even look for inverted photos. Bearing in mind, this version that I'm working on now will not be returned to you, but as I'm typing, you should be making these notes on your iPad. inverted photographs, and that should come together fairly well. Alright, good amount of work, still lots to do. Let's maximise the rest of the time that we have.